The PlayStation Store's Days of Play sale is running right now, and we've got you covered if you're on a little bit of a budget. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at 10 awesome PlayStation 4 game deals under the price of $9.99. Yes, there are a ton of deals that are a little bit more expensive on more recently released games, whether it be Sekiro, Resident Evil 2, Devil May Cry 5, and those deals are great. However, they're a little bit more expensive, and I know some of you guys would like to stick to the games that are a little bit cheaper, and that's what we're going to go over in today's video. Again, 10 total games to go over, so let's get right into it. And I want to kick things off with what is arguably one of the best deals of the sale, and that is Detroit Become Human, 60% off for $7.99. Now, I know in terms of the entirety of the PlayStation 4 exclusive library, although Detroit is now on PC, nonetheless, you guys get the idea. Detroit Become Human isn't really on the level of the elite PS4 exclusives. I would say it's one tier below that. However, that means it's still a remarkably good game. Of course, this game was done by the guys over at Quantic Dream, the guys that also brought you Fahrenheit, Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, which I like to forget about Beyond Two Souls, but Fahrenheit and Heavy Rain were quite good. And of course, they are story-driven games, and with Detroit Become Human, you get that same thrilling story-driven experience. It's ambitious, it's got a great setting, the visuals are great, and if you've yet to play it, maybe you were put off by the full $60 price point, and you were like, man, this is just a single-player story-driven game, and you didn't see the amount of depth that Detroit Become Human has to offer. Well, now that it's down to $8, it's definitely worth a buy, and there is a free demo available, so if you need that to sell you on the game, you can go with that as well. So I would definitely recommend that. Next up, this is arguably the best deal of the sale, and it's going a little bit under the radar, and that is Dying Light the Following Enhanced Edition at a new low. It is 50% off for $9.99. I believe it just hit the PlayStation Hits library, and they're knocking off the price of all of the PS Hits title, but $9.99 for Dying Light the Following is fantastic. Dying Light in general is just a great game. It was released all the way back in early 2015, so in terms of people buying their PlayStation 4 later on in the generation, maybe Dying Light was a game that you missed out on, and that is a shame because it's an awesome open world survival horror parkour themed game, awesome visuals here, and the Following Enhanced Edition makes the game even better. This is the version of the game you definitely want to grab, and $9.99 for it is great. Of course, Dying Light 2 is also on the horizon, and Dying Light 2 looks like a remarkable improvement upon Dying Light 1, so just think about how good that game's gonna be, but Dying Light 1 already a great game, and at $9.99 again, give it a strong recommendation. Speaking of PlayStation Hits, The Last of Us Remastered is 50% off down to $9.99. Of course, we're coming up on The Last of Us 2, and that'll be a sizable improvement upon this game. At least that's what I expect from Naughty Dog. But I would highly recommend you to go back and play 2013's Last of Us. Last of Us Remastered came out in 2014. This includes the base game with a ton of visual enhancements. The game looks great, plays great, and then you do also have the Left Behind expansion in there as well. The Last of Us is a tremendous game. In my honest opinion, this is Naughty Dog's second best game. We'll get to the first one in a little bit, but I just think The Last of Us is a tremendous game from storytelling, character development, thrilling moments. It's got all of that, and that's definitely going to be parlayed into The Last of Us Part 2. If you've yet to play The Last of Us 1, or maybe you played it back on the PS3 and you want to revisit the game before the sequel, $9.99 for it is a great buy. Alright, let's go to what in my opinion is Naughty Dog's best game, and that is Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. I feel like Uncharted 4 doesn't get the recognition it deserves as truly one of, if not the best games this generation. I don't think it's hyperbole in saying that, because what you have in Uncharted 4, if you assess it from everything it offers, it's got an awesome single-player campaign with incredible pacing, great gameplay, diverse gameplay as well. The visuals are stunning, gameplay is great, the story is a roller coaster ride, and not to mention, just for that single-player campaign, it is easily worth the price of admission, but there's also a quality multiplayer component in here as well. You have an all-around experience, and I truly believe that Uncharted 4 should be harkened back to as one of the best games of this generation. I feel like the majority of you guys point towards games like God of War, maybe The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Whatever the case may be, I just don't think Uncharted 4 gets that recognition, but it absolutely deserves that, and if you've yet to play it for $9.99, you should absolutely do so. But maybe you're in the boat where you've never even played Uncharted at all. Well, then I point you to the Uncharted the Nathan Drake collection. That is 50% off for $9.99 as well. That'll get you Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2, and Uncharted 3. I don't think these games are as good as Uncharted 4, being that they are PlayStation 3 games originally, but they are great games in their own right, and they're done very, very well on the PlayStation 4 as well. So start off with the Nathan Drake collection, work your way up to Uncharted 4, and you've got some great games to try out. The Nathan Drake collection also has a free demo. I guess if you need to be sold on getting 3 excellent games for $9.99, you can check out that demo as well, but you should just jump in and buy it. They are excellent games. Okay, next up, now I did say Dying Light the Following Enhanced Edition may have been the best deal, but let's be real, this is the best deal. Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition, 50% off for $9.99. This deal is just absolutely absurd. Horizon Zero Dawn is a tremendous action RPG. It does have some flaws in its gameplay, but overall, when you look at it from visual, storytelling, the world, all of those elements are done incredibly well, and the gameplay is definitely not bad. It just has a couple of flaws here and there that I think Guerrilla can definitely improve upon with a sequel. The Complete Edition, of course, includes the base game as well as the Frozen Wilds expansion. That means you have a sizable amount of content to delve into here, and for $9.99, I think it's a great buy, especially again with all of the content that you're getting here. I know the majority of you guys have probably checked out Horizon at this point, but if you have for whatever reason not, definitely do give Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition a look. Next up, here's an IP that's been a little forgotten about this generation, Little Big Planet with Little Big Planet 3. That is 50% off for $9.99. Now, this game was actually done by Sumo Digital, not Media Molecule, who worked on the first 2 titles. Little Big Planet 3 is a very good game in its own right. I don't know why it didn't get a lot of attention. Released back in 2014, it still offers you that great gameplay and charming gameplay that you know and love with Little Big Planet. Maybe because the evolution of Little Big Planet really isn't there. Whatever the case may be, if you want a charming platformer that's really good for anyone of any age, Little Big Planet 3 will definitely offer you that. Of course, Media Molecule, the guys that created Little Big Planet, are hard at work on Dreams. That game is in early access, and that game is going to be absolutely insane once they get all of the tools out and whatever the case may be. But as a platformer, Little Big Planet 3 offers a lot to like, and for $9.99, I would give that a recommendation. Next up, we do have The Sims 4, which is 80% off for $7.99. To be perfectly honest, I have never been a big fan of The Sims titles. I've played them myself, and I definitely understand the appeal. However, they aren't my personal cup of tea. However, from a value standpoint, Sims 4 is down to $7.99, and I think that's a pretty good deal if you're looking for that Sims experience on the PlayStation 4, and it does make a decent transition to the PlayStation 4. Unfortunately, there is a ton of downloadable content available for this game. All of that has been discounted, but if you do want to pick all of that up, that's going to cost you a pretty penny. Now, there is reason to hold off on EA games at this point. If you do plan on subscribing to EA Access next month, that's going to give you access to a lot of those EA titles, the majority of them that are a little bit older, Battlefield 5 even included. So if you are looking forward to that, maybe hold off on The Sims 4. Otherwise, if you're looking to play The Sims on PlayStation 4, The Sims 4 at $7.99 is a pretty good buy, all things considered. Next up, we have Resident Evil 5. That is 60% off for $7.99. Resident Evil is on the rage right now after the excellence of Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 2, of course, was tremendous this year. Resident Evil 5 is going back to playing a PlayStation 3 game that was ported to the PlayStation 4. It's a great game. However, this is a game that I would highly recommend you to play with co-op play in mind. Yes, you can play it solo, but Resident Evil 5 was one of those games that was definitely developed with co-op in mind, and if you do have a buddy that you can play the game with, you're gonna have a much better experience. The AI, of course, was one of the downfalls of Resident Evil 5. The game itself is excellent, a lot of high-octane moments. Visually, it still holds up relatively well, and it's a fun time to go through with a friend. This PlayStation 4 version also has some improvements. You've got the DLC in there, full 1080p HD, increased frame rate, all that good stuff. Stuff you would typically expect out of a revamped version, but Resident Evil 5 offers a lot to like, and at the price of $7.99, I think it's a pretty good buy. Next up, we do have Batman Arkham Knight, 70% off for $5.99, which is a really good deal for Arkham Knight. Unfortunately, this is the vanilla game, and you don't get the DLC, but still, $6 for Arkham Knight is a really good buy. Rocksteady has been absent for the last couple of years with a new game. To give you guys an idea, Arkham Knight came out all the way back in June of 2015. Yes, believe it or not, it's been 4 years since we've seen a game out of Rocksteady. Apparently they're working on something, whatever that is. I really don't know, but you should go back and play Batman Arkham Knight. I know the majority of people would agree that Batman Arkham Knight is probably the weakest in the Arkham franchise, and I'm in agreement with that. I mean, if you exclude Arkham Origins, if you just look at it from Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight is the weakest, but that's not saying much given that Arkham Asylum and Arkham City are absolutely tremendous games. Arkham Knight is very good in its own right, it just has a couple of flaws here and there, but overall, you've got a bigger open world than ever, you've got better visuals than ever, the gameplay is still pretty solid. Just some of the storytelling elements, the Batmobile sections, those were a little bit off-putting, but overall, there's a lot more good than bad here, and at $5.99, it's a great buy. And lastly, this is a deal that's making the rounds on the internet. I don't know what's up with this, but NBA 2K19 is 95% off for $2.99. Now, I would be lying to you guys if I said I was a big fan of the NBA 2K games. I would be lying to you if I said that I'm a big fan of basketball at all. However, given that this released in September of last year, obviously it's a sports title, but still, for $2.99, if you have even a modicum of interest in getting a basketball game for your PlayStation 4, this is the latest one that's come out, and at $3 it's a pretty good buy, so I wanted to give that a mention at the end. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, we're gonna be covering the days of play sale in depth. You guys are gonna have until June 17th to take advantage of all of the deals. A lot of great deals available, but these were some of the cheaper offerings. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.